N, the dense forests of what is now southern Ghana, long before colonial borders and modern states, the Akan people lived as independent clans, powerful, proud, but divided. Each state defended its own land, its own gods, and its own ambitions. Unity was rare, trust was fragile, and power shifted constantly through warfare. From this fractured landscape rose one man who would do what no sword alone could ever achieve. His name was Tutu, and through vision, strategy, and spiritual authority, he would unite the Akan states into one of the most formidable empires in African history, the Asante Empire. Tutu was born in the late 17th century into the royal lineage of Kumasi, a growing but vulnerable state. As a young man, he experienced exile living among rival powers, observing their strengths and weaknesses. What he learned during those years would later define his rule. Power without unity collapses, and force without legitimacy never lasts. When Tutu returned to Kumasi and ascended the stool as its ruler, he inherited a land surrounded by enemies, especially the dominant Denkira kingdom. Denkira controlled trade routes, demanded tribute, and humiliated neighboring states. Many Akan rulers resented this dominance, but none could challenge it alone. Tutu understood something revolutionary for his time. Military strength must be bound to shared identity. Conquest alone would only replace one oppressor with another. What was needed was a unifying symbol, something greater than any single chief or army. For this, he turned to a man whose influence rivaled kings, the priest and statesman Okomfo Anokye. Together, Tutu and Okomfo Anokye forged not just a political alliance, but a sacred vision of nationhood. According to Asante tradition, during a great gathering of chiefs, Anokye called upon the spirits, and from the sky descended the golden stool, landing gently on Tutu's lap. This was no ordinary throne. The golden stool was declared the soul of the Asante people. It did not belong to the king. It did not represent personal power. It embodied the unity, ancestry, and destiny of the entire nation. From that moment, loyalty was no longer owed merely to Tutu, it was owed to Asanteman itself. This single act transformed politics into belief. Tutu then restructured governance in a way that balanced authority and autonomy. Subordinate chiefs retained control over local affairs, but all swore allegiance to the golden stool. Disputes between states were settled through council rather than endless warfare. Military obligations were standardized. Tribute became organized, not exploitative. For the first time, the Akan states fought not as rivals, but as one people. With unity secured, Tutu turned outward. The Asante armies, disciplined and strategically organized, confronted Denkira. In a decisive campaign, Denkira was defeated, its dominance broken. Trade routes, especially those linking gold fields to the coast, fell under Asante control. Gold became the lifeblood of the empire. Kumasi transformed into a political, commercial, and cultural capital. Roads were constructed, military logistics improved, diplomacy with neighboring states expanded. The Asante Empire emerged not as a loose alliance, but as a centralized power rooted in shared ideology. Yet, Tutu ruled with restraint. He understood that excessive tyranny would fracture the unity he had built. Chiefs were held accountable, but respected. Laws were enforced, but mediated through custom. Even the Asante himself was bound by tradition, unable to sit on the golden stool, for no man was greater than the nation. This balance between authority and limitation became the secret of Asante longevity. Osei Tutu's reign marked the beginning of over 2 centuries of Asante dominance in the region. Long after his death, the golden stool remained untouchable, defended fiercely against internal betrayal and later against British colonial aggression. Empires rose and fell across Africa, but the Asante state endured because it was founded not just on power, but on collective identity. When Osei Tutu died around 1717, he left behind more than territory or wealth. He left a political philosophy that legitimacy outlives force, that unity is stronger than fear, and that a people bound by shared belief can withstand even the greatest external threats. Today, the story of Osei Tutu is not merely the story of a king. It is the story of nation building before modern nation states. A reminder that Africa did not wait for Europe to understand governance, law, or political imagination. In the forests of Asante, power was not seized, it was consecrated, and that legacy still stands.